Today I have the Galaxy A53, which is currently Samsung's latest in the A50 series. This one, like so many before it, has a cracked OLED and no longer displays. I'll be replacing the display along with the main housing for a factory-like repair. Let's head over to the heating pad and get this back plastic out of the way. Not too much heat, these panels have a tendency to warp a bit. Just like the A52 before it, this one has no hidden ribbon cables waiting to ruin your day. Just a thin layer of adhesive all the way around the back that can be separated relatively easily with a thin metal pry tool. Replacing the adhesive is always a good idea, just be sure you remove all the old stuff. Under that back panel we find a typical two-part midsection with a battery in between. There are 8 identical screws holding the top part in, that's 2 less than last year. Are you skimping on our screws, Samsung? One large arrow guides you to a safe pry point to remove the panel. Down to the bottom we find an odd 7 more identical screws, that's 1 extra from last year, so I suppose we aren't being cut too short. These can be mixed with the others since they're all the same. Nice to see that designated pry points are back, and now with single pry points for efficiency. Sort of. If you're subscribed to my channel, you'll know that disconnecting the battery is pretty important. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and bop that little button down below. A single black board screw is hiding in the corner of this main 64 megapixel camera module, keep this one separate. Back to the bottom we find a sturdy pair of those same black screws, keep them with the others. Now is as good a time as any to remove the SIM tray at the bottom. Pretty weird how a micro SD card fits perfect in this tray, yet they couldn't find a way to squeeze it into their flagship S-series phones. Now I'll disconnect all the fun things at the top of the phone. The bottom is a bit of a different story though. Instead of running a long ribbon out from the display, Samsung has decided to put a very short ribbon that requires an extension. Then they decided the best way to design this would be to glue that short ribbon down to the charging board. It's almost like Samsung hired some Apple engineers with how little sense this makes. Now, just like I mentioned in the previous Galaxy A52 video, this one has one of the smallest fingerprint reading cameras I've come across in a device. The module is barely bigger than the connector itself. Impressive. Other small components like the vibration motor need to be transferred to the new housing, and everything has its own dedicated pry point for safe removal. Our new frame has much less graffiti than the A52 before it. All the new components can be reassembled while the old frame is over on the heating mat, cooking that battery adhesive to soften it up. With a little persuasion, the battery can be lifted up and out without bending or warping it. Even if MrWhoseTheBoss thinks Samsung batteries are dangerous, as someone who actually deals with them every day, I can confidently say they are some of the safest smartphone batteries I've tested. And by tested, I mean purposefully blown up. Motorola is the dangerous one. A bit of speedy reassembly later, and this one is ready to test. Remember to always test the device before fully sealing the back panel with new adhesive. On the off chance you have to open it back up, you'll thank me. If you've made it this far in the video, you're probably all finished and ready to move on. But what if you needed to repair something else? Be sure to subscribe so you can catch my upcoming repair guides and more, or drop a comment below letting me know you finished this repair. Come check out some of my weirder technology encounters over on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.